So the title of this presentation will be Small Landowners Mobilization, and I will be briefly presenting Centro PINUS, the Maritime Pine Portuguese Forest and Cluster, and also I will be addressing the challenges of implementing a model forest in small holdings in Portugal. So Centro PINUS is a non-profit association. It was created in 1999, and our main goal is to improve maritime pine forest production and productivity according to industry needs. So we act by gathering information and data about the pine cluster. We try to influence public policies. We participate in stakeholder forums, technical committees. We have a wide and diverse communication activity. We publish, for instance, technical guidelines, and we also participate in research and development projects, typically in the dissemination of the results, and we also try to influence the research agenda. So currently we are 28 members, and they include the Forest Contractors Association, the Forest Landowners Association, industry, research, finance with a TMO, and also public services. So maritime pine, it was really interesting to see you address pine as the king, because nowadays we are more like the prince. So because we are currently the third species in Portugal, because we have been losing area mostly due to forest fire, which is the biggest threat. But still we occupy 22% of the Portuguese forest with about 700 hectares. So maritime pine is pioneer, resilient species that will always have an important role in a country with so much fires and other kind of disturbance in restoring the ecosystem. We are the potential to be a multifunctional forest. So even though wood production is very important, we also have resin production and recreation use, among others. So most pine stands are mostly semi-natural or with very low intensity forest management in small private holdings and also in small landscape units. We have a high percentage of young and uneven aged stands. About half the stands are uneven aged. And of those that we know, in fact, the age, they are quite young because of forest fire. After forest fire, we typically have a natural regeneration that in some cases it is a blessing. In some cases it can be a sort of a curse because the density is so high that it gets difficult to manage. So both understocked and overstocked stands are actually quite common. So let's look at the industry landscape. As you can see, we have a diverse presence in the territory, mostly in the north and center, which is where you have wood production forest. We have over 300 wood manufacturing sites. Sawmills are the most important. We have 255 sawmills. Of these, about 10 of them have big capacity, but most of them are small family businesses. So paper mill and wood paper mills are big, and we have 7 of them. And we also have almost 30 pellet production units. So this means that in any given region in the north and center and in a given landscape that you are considering the governance, there is a high chance that there will be a pine wood manufacturing site that will be an important player. And it may be a small family business that maybe some people don't know, but it will have a relevant role in the local economy and in employment. So forest ownership is mostly private and with very small holdings, especially in the north and center. And the mean size of the holding is under 1 hectare, so is really small. But we do have also communal lands and public forests that you can see in the map. So the communal lands are the green areas, mostly mountain areas, and the brown lands are the public forest. And in both of these areas, the communal lands and the public forest, pine is an important species. So here we have an example of how difficult things and complex things can look in a specific example. So here we have a management unit which is a little bit over 1,000 hectares. But in that area, we can find 1,500 holdings which belong to more than 500 landowners. So, and each of these landowners have different contexts, different needs, and different opinions. It can be difficult to reconcile all these different points of views. Also, there is a situation that typically most of the landowners, which happens in this case, they don't live near their holding. They live away in the city. And those that remain typically are over 65 years old, and it's not always easy to communicate with them. So this concept of model forest about bringing a diverse partnership of individuals and groups together to realize a common vision, it can be particularly challenging in our conditions. But we do have some experience, and I prepared here a few examples. One of them is what we call the forest intervention zones that are at least 500 hectares. And the main purpose is managing the landscape for fire prevention. We have been experimenting with this since 2005, and by now we have 245 of these units that aggregate over 27,000 landowners. So we have gathered through this experience some knowledge about mobilizing small landowners. Recently, we have been starting to implement what we call integrated landscape management units, which are about managing a landscape for transformation. And we are currently starting to implement 70 of these. We have communal lands that by definition are about serving the local community, and currently we have a project that we have a network of groups of these communal lands, and we also have several forest certification groups that bring together groups of small landowners that can have hundreds of landowners in a common framework for sustainable management and valorization. So indeed, model forests are a promising tool for management landscapes in Portugal, indeed. And I believe we already have some experience, but we can go much further. And I thank you for your attention. I invite you to email us, visit our website, and follow us on social media. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have today or later. And I bring this back to you, Conceição. Thank you very much.